Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, the state of emergency to be extended to the end of October. We've got the story. Why opposition members decided not to show up today. Plus, things not so sweet at a local candy factory.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thank you for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis announcing government's intention to extend the state of emergency for at least another month and a half. As Minnis tabled a resolution for the emergency order extension, he also pleaded with Bahamians to adhere to the COVID-19 protocols for the next 3 weeks. Here's Jasmine Brown.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that this House approves the continuance of proclamation made on the 29th day of June 2020 until the 31st day of October 2020.
The Prime Minister tabled the resolution during an extraordinary sitting of the House of Assembly on Wednesday morning. He gave notice that at the next sitting of the House on September 23rd, the government plans on debating the resolution that would extend the state of emergency to the end of October.
Having regard to the continuing proliferation of confirmed cases in neighboring jurisdictions and active cases and deaths in the Bahamas, and whereas it continues to be necessary and expedient for securing the public safety, the defense of the Bahamas, the maintenance of public order, the suppression of mutiny, rebellion, and riot, and for maintaining supplies and services essential to the life and well-being of the community, and to continue in force the proclamation, Emergency Powers COVID-19 Pandemic Regulations 2020.
That notice came less than a week after Minnis told reporters that he does not foresee any more lockdowns to fight COVID-19, but instead expects to isolate areas of the country where there are high cases. Minnis says the competent authority ordered a series of lockdowns since the first COVID-19 case was confirmed in the Bahamas on March 15th. Governor General C.A. Smith declared a state of emergency on March 18th. While he did not touch on the topic of lockdowns in the House of Assembly on Wednesday, he did stress the importance of adhering to COVID-19 protocols and said this was especially important over the next 3 weeks.
Still somewhat disappointed by the amount of illegal social gatherings and parties that are still occurring. I ask the Bahamian people if they can at least remain compliant just at least to the end of this particular month by wearing facial masks and try to resist from such social gatherings. It would do a lot for their country in that it would accelerate the process of the decline and decrease in COVID cases that we're seeing.
Minnis also noted that confirmed cases of COVID-19 appear to be on the decline, a fact he says can only be attributed to the Ministry of Health and residents following the social distancing protocols. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, members of the opposition were a no-show at today's House meeting. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis pointed out the absence of opposition leader Philip Davis, in particular, questioning why he was not present.
It's unfortunate that the leader of the opposition is not here.
Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis not passing up on the opportunity to throw a bit of shade at opposition members after they refused to show up to this morning's House meeting, citing a parliamentary staffer who tested positive. Minnis said he was particularly puzzled over the absence of opposition leader Philip Davis.
You all know that the leader of opposition had COVID and the leader of opposition has antibody. But for all intents and purposes, the leader of opposition is immune. He's the most safest in this country at this time. He is immune, and that immunity may last for 3 to 6 months. We don't know the duration, but we do know that he is the safest in this country at this time. So it's unfortunate that he's not here.
However, when it comes to immunity, the World Health Organization says there is currently no evidence that people who have recovered from COVID-19 and have antibodies are protected from a second infection, despite some suggesting that the presence of antibodies serve as an immunity passport or risk-free certificate. Davis is still in quarantine after returning from treatment in the U.S. Meanwhile, leader of opposition business in the House, Picewell Forbes, called the decision to have a House meeting in person today irresponsible.
We thought it would have been not instead what we are asking the Bahamian populace to do, to go to Parliament doesn't send the correct signal. And so therefore, leader and also myself would have tried to reach the relevant authorities about us not sitting today, because it would have even given us the 14 days window from the last sitting of Parliament.
As for testing, Forbes says opposition members have decided to self-isolate rather than get tested. And when it comes to the Prime Minister's plans to extend the state of emergency to the end of October, Forbes questioned the reasoning, asking if the country is really still in a state of emergency.
But my thing is that I think we now are people that I think are quite aware, and we've got to find a way that we can kind of coexist with this virus and also get back to some level of normalcy, because in the meantime we're hurting our economy and our people. There's some anxiety.
Forbes also stressed the opposition's concerns over the amount of power in the hands of one man.
Bahamians are no longer going to sit back and allow you, no matter who you are, to more or less dictate to them in a very didactic and almost sometimes condescending kind of way. Either this or, and they're not going to accept it.
House Speaker Halson Moutry announced he has tested negative for COVID-19. It comes one day after it was revealed that a staffer at the House of Assembly tested positive for the virus.
We are in compliance with the COVID-19 protocols. As indicated, I've requested of the staff as well as myself and recommended to members to take the COVID-19 test. I've taken the test yesterday. The result is negative. The clerk has taken the test. The result is negative, and several other members of staff will be taking the test today. And we're hoping and praying that their results will also be negative.
The House met today with only 12 members, just more than enough to form a quorum.
I'm most grateful to the honorable members who decided to attend this morning to carry on the people's business, which on occasions is time sensitive, and so we are indeed grateful to proceed accordingly.
Well, a Free National Movement member of Parliament and an independent MP are slamming government's decision to move ahead with today's House sitting, charging that it seems the government isn't following the rules. Here's Berthany McDermott.
Noticeably absent from this morning's sitting of the House of Assembly was outspoken FNM MP Frederick McAlpine and independent MP Vaughn Miller. McAlpine says government should have led by example and shut down Parliament. He added that based on what took place in the House of Assembly Wednesday, it seems government isn't following its own rules.
Parliament should have found another way to make it. Basically, you shut down businesses. And Parliament perhaps should have been shut down. I recognize that the opposition is not attending Parliament today. Parliament should have been shut down. I know that it's been sanitized, but it should have been shut down. We should follow. We should lead by example.
An employee of the House of Assembly tested positive for COVID-19 this week. House Speaker Halson Moultrie said the employee came into contact with all MPs and staff who were present when the House met on September 9th. At the time, Moultrie, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, Deputy Prime Minister Peter Turnquest, and Youth, Sports and Culture Minister Lanisha Roll, among others, were not wearing a mask. Vaughn Miller, who quit the FNM last year, found the decision to hold a House sitting today disappointing.
Quite frankly, I'm disappointed. I expected, anticipated that we would not have met today, but my understanding is that the proceedings are ongoing. For me personally, I took the Speaker's advice that we should go and get tested.
Miller also took issue with the fact that he found out that a staff member tested positive for COVID-19 through social media. He called it disappointing that no one reached out to him.
Very disappointed. I thought it was very unprofessional, and I thought someone should have contacted me, and someone should have informed me, as opposed to me hearing it, seeing it on social media, and then having persons call me.
Meanwhile, McAlpine blasted his fellow Grand Bahama MPs who were all present at last week's sitting of the House of Assembly. McAlpine questioned how the members were allowed to travel and not required to quarantine as mandated by COVID orders.
None of them should be in Parliament today or for the next 2 weeks, because according to the laws that we set down, or the protocols, it indicates that once you would have left the island and you return, you have to be quarantined for 14 days.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
In other news, a man was gunned down on First Street last night. According to police, the victim was shot in front of his home around 8 p.m. by a man on a motorcycle. His neighbor, Townsley Roberts, heard the gunshots.
I was sitting where I am right now, and the vehicle with jet ski stopped because they had some problem with the trailer wheel. And the next thing you know, you hear all these shots going off and flashing of lights. And in the commotion, when I walked to the side of the road, I saw the gentleman bleeding. So obviously he was shot. And then people came in the street.
Family members tell Our News the victim is 26-year-old Shamal Ferguson. His neighbor says Ferguson had broken down for a brief time before he was attacked.
It maybe wasn't even 2 minutes before all this commotion started. Because I didn't think anything about it. They have a problem with their trailer. They fixing it. And then you heard the shots.
How many shots?
It happened so fast, I didn't think it was many until when the police came and they put the cones, and it seemed to be at least 9 shots.
More news on the way, but here's a first look at weather with meteorologist Greg Thompson. Good night, Greg.
Thanks, Kyle. I'm meteorologist Greg Thompson with your first look at weather. Beautiful conditions outside our studios. Temperatures into the mid-80s. 84 is our current temperature under fair skies. Your winds are out of the southeast at 3 knots. They will fall light and variable later on. Feels like temperature around 87 degrees Fahrenheit. On our satellite, high pressure remains in charge, dominating our weather with some beautiful conditions, quiet, couple isolated showers across the Big Islands, Andros and Inagua. Those showers will dissipate later on this evening. That is your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
All right, thanks, Greg. Still to come, why Potter's Key vendors are speaking out, plus a popular candy business struggling to survive. That's coming up when Our News is heard.
This is a huge deal. NFL Sunday Ticket is back, only with Rev Trio. All day football, all day Sunday. Enjoy all the benefits of Trio with a huge extra. Never miss a game with NFL Sunday Ticket, included in your Rev Trio bundle. All you have to do is opt in. TV, phone, and internet starting at just $99. Call 601-8992 to sign up now. Visit www.rev.bs/promotions for details.
Potter's Key Dock vendors are furious and calling out officers who they say are not enforcing the correct orders. They claim that officers are preventing them from offering curbside service when emergency orders allow for it. Jillian Gray has a story.
Potter's Key Dock vendors are up in arms as they say police officers seem confused over what the emergency powers orders allows vendors to do. They're calling for some sort of cohesion or instruction to be given to officers as they say it's now affecting their businesses.
There's some confusion at night time. We have 2 particular officers what is doing what they want to do. Sometimes you can park, sometimes you can't park, okay? Either it's going to be we can park or we cannot park.
It's like a different mandate every day. And it's a challenge that we just getting back open and trying to make a dollar. We got bills, we have things that we ain't even come out of yet, a hole yet.
The latest orders state that restaurants at Arawak Key and Potter's Key Dock can operate between 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. for curbside pickup, delivery, or drive-through takeaway, once employees are wearing masks and all patrons adhere to physical distancing protocols and wear masks. However, vendors say that has not been happening. This cell phone video by one of the vendors shows an officer telling a patron to move their car.
I have it right. Can't have any roadblock. Look at that. What that is.
Other videos show officers blocking areas with their cars. President of the Fish, Food, and Fruit Vendors Association, Armonique Bowe, said she's expressed vendors' concerns to officers numerous times, but those cries have gone unanswered.
When the country open up and the tourists come, we would like to know if the police is going to be telling now the taxis and the tourists you can't stand. You understand me? So we have to put some normalcy in place now before the tourists come back.
Those are the people that's not being bombarded every day, constantly by police officers or COVID-19 cars. Are they coming approaching your customers and asking how come they standing waiting for food like it ain't supposed to be? And we are actually following the protocol, takeaway and curbside.
Only 20 of the 46 stalls on Potter's Key Dock are open. Sade Raming said she will not be opening her stall until the issues are sorted out.
For you to make that type of investment for stock, these are perishable items in order for you to be able to service the public as safely as possible. And if you're unable to move your stock, then you end up with that loss of inventory, and it is not the time to be losing money. So I am uncertain as to when I would open up until this is resolved, that I feel as if I would be able to make a substantial profit from being open.
Well, residents of Abaco are firing back at National Security Minister Marvin Dames following his comments about crime on that island. Georgia Bain has more.
Abaconians did not hold back on social media last evening after hearing Dames' comments on crime on the island following a weekend visit. This resident claims that every house in Marsh Harbor was robbed and he needs to get his story right. This resident said he is the biggest disaster, not Dorian. While another said he has to go ASAP. I'd rather Tom and Jerry take his position. Dames' comments also not sitting well with the director of the Abaco Chamber of Commerce, Krista Ulbrey, who asserts that despite the National Security Minister's visit, nothing has changed on the island.
COVID emergency powers order, or is there actually going to be a focus on reducing crime in Abaco? Every night before and after the minister's arrival, there has been a reported crime in Abaco when it comes to housebreaking or burglarizing of businesses. This has not slowed down. They have not shown any fear towards the police or defense force over here, let alone any respect for their presence. We need both agencies to step up and to show Abaco that they are here to actually protect us and to help us in our rebuilding efforts.
Over the weekend, Dames, along with the Commissioner of Police and the Commodore of the Defense Force, toured several settlements in Abaco following reports of escalating crime. While Ulbrey applauded law enforcement's efforts, which resulted in 29 curfew violators being arrested, she said that same night, criminals hit the island's lumberyard, further setting back the restoration efforts on that island.
That same night that they had roadblocks, the local lumberyard, which is actually run by the president of the Chamber of Commerce in Abaco, was burglarized, and an entire shipment of plywood was taken from that establishment less than just the next road over from where the roadblocks were occurring to catch curfew violators. So our question is there only a focus on finding those who are violating the COVID emergency powers order, or is there actually going to be a focus on reducing crime in Abaco?
Dames toured Manowar, Hopetown, and Green Turtle Key. According to Ulbrey, she was disappointed by the visit because despite being on the island, there was little to no dialogue with residents to even attempt to calm affairs. Reporting for Our News, I'm Georgie O'Bain.
A nearly century-old family business has seen a decline in business during the pandemic. Jared Higgs tells us they are really counting on local support to survive.
Everything is pretty much out of whack right now, but our good and faithful customers who we continue to lean on, we appreciate them and their support over this time.
When your company has been in business for nearly 100 years, it's bound to encounter some rough patches. That's the case for Mortimer's Candies. 92 years in the game means it has survived the ups and downs of the last century. But a global pandemic has resulted in a worldwide economic decline.
Business has been extremely slow because of a lot of people out of work. And that's not just us, that's I think everywhere in the country right now. But we're still managing to stay above ground.
But Mortimer Candy's general manager, Cale Mortimer, says the company isn't exempt from the losses many are facing. In fact, the Candy Kitchen lost 40% of its business as hotels have been closed for half a year.
The hotel business was a consistent part of my company, whereas it was a sure income. Where they're closed now, we've just been relying on our customers, which have also gone down to a certain extent.
At the company's East Street factory and storefront, its 6 employees are hard at work. Mortimer's was started in 1928 as best ever candy company, and its candies are still cooked in copper kettles and cooled on marble tables. It has survived its fair share of challenges, including a major fire. But in order to stay alive now, they've had to think outside the box and outside the country.
We have applied to the FDA to get to be able to export directly from here. But there were certain things that I have to ship over there to be tested in the labs over there for them to send back the sanctions and the nutrition facts and all of that.
Those candies being shipped off are made the old-fashioned way and all from 2 machines. Besides opportunities abroad, the 4th-generation candy store owner says more local support can go a long way.
They can, as the government, support more manufacturing companies by buying directly from them for all of the functions and different things they have to be done in their offices and around the country. For example, I don't see why every Bahamas Air flight doesn't have Mortimer candies on it.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Still to come, a Grand Bahama beekeeper shows the sweet side of business. Stay tuned.
This is a huge deal. NFL Sunday Ticket is back, only with Rev Trio. All day football, all day Sunday. Enjoy all the benefits of Trio with a huge extra. Never miss a game with NFL Sunday Ticket, included in your Rev Trio bundle. All you have to do is opt in. TV, phone, and internet starting at just $99. Call 601-8992 to sign up now. Visit www.rev.bs/promotions for details.
You're watching Our News. Welcome back. A Grand Bahama beekeeper and backyard farmer says with food and job security threatened by the pandemic, more people should start small agriculture businesses. Julian Gray has his story.
It's the backyard business with thousands of workers.
I don't think we can produce anything with the food store. Most of the stuff with the food store that we consume, fruits, vegetables, and so forth, that bees don't play a pivotal part to.
So they're vital for...
They're very vital. Workers. So hopefully if I can get 2 million workers, I don't have to pay any benefits. There's no benefits to go with it. There's no paycheck. So with that, I'm like, you know what, this is a good industry to get into right now.
Luckner Timothy has been a beekeeper for several years. He described the industry as an untapped treasure trove and said with job security scarce in a COVID-19 environment, keeping bees may be a great option for many. These colorful boxes are home to hundreds of bees, and the names on the boxes hold a meaningful story about recovery after Dorian.
During Dorian, what ended up happening was a lot of my homes got destroyed and a lot of my equipment got destroyed. So all these people, you see the names on them, those are folks that actually donated to me during my GoFundMe page and my Amazon registry. So with all the tools that I got, I created these boxes and I give their names on every one of those boxes so I don't remember those folks.
Timothy, a Grand Bahama native, is also the founder of the Grand Bahama Backyard Farmers Movement. While he started the movement for his mom, he said the association has grown exponentially, proving that food security is achievable.
Until COVID kicked in, we never had the issue because people always had the tourism dollars coming in and it was easy money and I don't want to work in the sun and I don't want to do all this, so they hated it. But now they're understanding like food security is important. I remember one of the Minister of Agriculture guy jokingly said that if the trailers stopped coming in within the Bahamas, within 3 months Bahamians would start starving. Within 3 months we probably would start starving because there would be no food. And I look at it and I was like, that's not a joke. Like that's a fact. And if we look at it like how we were lining up to the food stores and so forth, if we couldn't get into the food stores and the food stores are closed, we're in trouble.
With 3 farmers markets on the island, the goal is to continue to provide goods for those markets and eventually move to providing food to local food stores. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
All right, thanks, Jillian. Marcellus Hall is up next with a check on sports.
This is a huge deal. NFL Sunday Ticket is back, only with Rev Trio. All day football, all day Sunday. Enjoy all the benefits of Trio with a huge extra. Never miss a game with NFL Sunday Ticket, included in your Rev Trio bundle. All you have to do is opt in. TV, phone, and internet starting at just $99. Call 601-8992 to sign up now. Visit www.rev.bs/promotions for details.
Thieves dealing a major blow to a local sporting association. Marcellus Hall has more in this edition of Sports.
Well, quiet facilities due to stoppage of play with COVID-19 has inspired thieves to come forward and ransack those very same facilities. Bahamas Government Departmental Softball Association, the latest to fall victim.
Executives of the Bahamas Government Departmental Softball Association and officials of the National Sports Authority in disbelief yesterday as they were greeted by a disheartening sight at the Blue Hills facilities. Overnight thieves had broken into the concession stand building, gaining entry through the roof and taking everything in sight, including coolers, refrigerators, and microwaves utilized by the association during the season. League President Dwayne "Man" Stevens says the theft a huge blow.
Over the last 2 years, we've taken our monies and we've put into the association to improve the facility, along with our partnership with the NSA. And it's the members of the association who purchased these items, okay, and to the tune of some $13,000 or $1,000. And these are new equipment, commercial equipment as well as household equipment for the easement and for the enjoyment of the essential workers of our country. And it's just a blow.
Stevens saying that while they are hoping to recoup the stolen property, he realizes the odds are slim.
We want to call out to our neighboring community here in Yellow Elder, and if anyone have any information that can lead to the arrest of these culprits, we appeal to the community to assist us, to give the police a call, the Grove Police Station, Superintendent Damien Robertson, get information to them.
He added that he is hopeful that there will be those in the community and corporate Bahamas willing to help with the rebuilding process.
We also would like to reach out to corporate Bahamas because we definitely need some assistance, be it, we know these are tough times, be it financially, or if somebody can sponsor a stove, apartment-sized stove, a deep freeze, a microwave, etc., we will be very appreciative.
So League President Stevens hoping that those powers that be will come forward to help them as they look to get back on their feet. Reporting for Our News, I'm Marcellus Hall.
And that's a look at news. We throw it back to meteorologist Greg Thompson for the extended weather forecast.
Thanks again, Kyle. I'm meteorologist Greg Thompson with your second look at weather. On our satellite, high pressure remains in charge of the islands, generating a southeast to easterly breeze. Sally is continuing to move towards north and away from us. A low pressure system to the southeast could lend some showers to the southeastern Bahamas. Your boating forecast for all areas tonight through tomorrow: east to southeast winds 10 to 15 knots, seas running 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. High tide will be at 7:47 tonight. Now a look at your national forecast. Your extended forecast through Monday. That's a look at our weather. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you for joining us for Our News tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Kyle Joaquin. Remember, you can catch Our News on the Go, the RevGo Play app. Have a good Wednesday evening, Bahamas.